Chronicles of the Grim Reaper, The Silent Watch, by Griz, Calderon. The night was heavy with rain, the kind that turned roads into rivers and left the air raw with cold. A silver-gray kitten, no larger than a hand, crouched beneath the brush at the roadside. His fur clung to his body, soaked through, and his blue eyes, bright as polished glass, searched for the mother who would never return. She had carried him this far, urging him to follow, her tail a steady guide. But the road was cruel. A rush of wheels, the strike of metal and rain, and she was gone. A shadow had come then. Cloaked in black, tall and still, the Reaper knelt by her broken body. His scythe gleamed faintly even in the storm. Animals never feared him. She lifted her eyes, weak but unafraid, as he eased her soul free. She turned once in farewell, brushing her kitten with warmth that told him to run, to live. The Reaper lingered. He looked upon the trembling scrap of life and reached with a force unseen. Into the kitten's heart he pressed a gift, a sense beyond instinct, a way to feel what others could not, to glimpse the edges of what was coming. Not a burden, a purpose. The kitten stumbled forward, guided by something greater than himself. Hours passed before a pair of footsteps splashed along the muddy path. An old woman, returning from the market, bent beneath her shawl. Her hands were lined with age, but gentle as she stooped to lift him. "Not to worry," she whispered, tucking him close. "I am here. I will take care of you. You are safe now." She named him Sven. Under her care, he grew sleek and strong, his coat a shining silver, his eyes a startling blue. He followed her everywhere, a quiet shadow. When her steps faltered, he circled her ankles until she stopped, saving her from a fall. When her heart labored, he pressed himself against her chest and purred until she rested. He seemed to know things before they happened, and she trusted his watchful presence without question. Years passed. Her hair thinned to threads of silver. Her hands grew fragile. Sven, too, grew older, though his eyes never dimmed. When her children moved her to a home for the elderly, she agreed on one condition: Sven must come too. The home welcomed pets. Cats curled on blankets, dogs dozed beside chairs, and birds sang softly from cages. But Sven was different. The staff noticed he would settle beside certain residents days before they passed, staying until the very end. They began to call it his silent watch. To Sven, it was more. He felt the shift in the air when death drew near, the same stir he had felt the day his mother's soul was lifted. Each time he curled against the fading heartbeat, keeping vigil until the Reaper came. And each time the hooded figure acknowledged him with a quiet thought pressed into his mind. "You have done well." But Sven always searched for one soul, his mother's, and each time he was left waiting. The Reaper saw it in his eyes, the quiet ache, the unspoken question, and though he offered no words, there was a weight in his gaze that told Sven he understood. When the woman's time arrived, Sven knew. He did not leave her bed for days, resting on her chest, purring through her shallow breaths. She stroked his fur with weak fingers, whispering his name until her voice faded. That winter night, the Reaper came. Cloaked and still, his scythe glinted in the dim lamplight. Sven felt the thought pushed into him. She will be safe. You will see her again. Her soul rose, free of age and frailty, her hair full and shining, her smile radiant. She reached for him, but the Reaper guided her gently onward. Sven pressed himself into the hollow of her chest, crying low and soft. The years after were quiet. Sven kept to his purpose. He paced the halls of the home, nudging cups closer when a trembling hand could not reach, standing firm in doorways until help arrived, pressing against restless arms so they would not tumble to the floor. Again and again, he curled against fading bodies, his purr steady until the Reaper came. He was their guardian, their silent watch. One afternoon, as sunlight spilled warm across the floor, Sven lay by the window. His bones ached, his breath slowed. Outside, the residents basked in the same light, faces turned upward. His eyes grew heavy. A hand brushed his head. Warm, gentle, familiar. "Sven," a voice whispered. "I am here. I will take care of you. You are safe now." He opened his eyes and saw her. Not frail, not bent, but radiant and whole. The woman he had loved all his life, smiling as she had that first night in the rain. And beside her stood another figure, sleek and silver, with the same blue eyes as his own. His mother, watching him with the same quiet pride she had the day she gave her last strength to carry him to safety. The woman and his mother had been waiting, watching over him together all these years, as he watched over others. Sven rose, no longer tired, no longer weak. He pressed his head into the woman's hand, then turned to nuzzle his mother's fur, his purr spilling out in joy. The Reaper stood close, scythe resting at his side. He did not intrude. He simply watched, silent, as Sven, his mother, and the woman who saved him walked forward together. She had saved him once. He had saved her many times. And in the end, Sven had been a companion, a protector, a quiet keeper of souls. The silent watch. The end.